From an NFT collection to a layer 1 blockchain, Bera first came in 2021 as an NFT collection, and today they raised around $42 million. Last week they announced that their testnet has also begun, so in this video we'll be doing the testnet together to gain some potential airdrops. If you're not familiar with testnets or you haven't done it before, testnets are simply free to use, they cost you $0, and some of them even awards early users for joining the testnet. So in BeraChain, we don't want to miss this potential, so we're gonna do the testnet together. It's actually very easy, it won't take much time, so let's get into it. So this is BeraChain's webpage. It looks actually very fancy. When we scroll the page up, we can see that it says a modular EVM compatible layer 1 blockchain powered by proof of liquidity. Before I start doing the testnet in BeraChain, I'd like to say that there's 3 important tokens that you need to know. One is Bera, which is the native token for BeraChain. The second one is Honey, which is the stable coin for BeraChain. And BGT, which is the governance token that can be used for voting and proposal for BeraChain. And you can earn BGT by staking your tokens in BeraChain. So let's get started. So first thing first, we'll need to get some test tokens from BeraChain. I click on the dApps over here and go to the faucet page. Since it's on testnet, it might be a little buggy and swaps or the transactions might be failed, and they not even send me any tokens from here as well. Because as I said, it's testnet, we're testing it, and it might take some little time for the tokens or for the transactions to be approved. I already requested tokens, so I don't think it will give me new tokens from here. Let's give it a try. I'll say drip tokens. And yes, I need to wait 8 hours more for asking testnet tokens. I can only get 0.025 every 8 hours from the faucet. But I already have some tokens in my wallet, and it takes almost like 5 minutes to arrive. So far, it looks good. So I'm gonna start using the chain and let's continue. Now, over here, it says explore, and I'm gonna start with bags. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna do some swapping. I go to swap tokens. I already did some transactions before, but I'm gonna do it again. So I click on Bera and I'm gonna request some STG USDC. Further in the video, we're gonna use some USDC, so I recommend you guys swapping it to USDC as well. So I'm gonna go with 0.0, let's say 2, I guess. And I'll say preview and swap. I give permission and we're waiting for the transaction to be approved. Now the page might say that the transaction failed, but we're gonna wait until it's approved in the chain. So if it says failed, make sure you're following the transaction on the blockchain. So the page says that the swap was not successful, but when I check in the blockchain over here, this was the transaction that I did. I go to the blockchain and we will check from the transaction over here, and it says it's a success. So my transaction was approved. And also when I come over here, as you can see, I had 0 STG USDC and now I have 7.3 USDC. So if the site says that the transactions failed or not approved, just ignore it and wait for the transaction to be approved in the blockchain. Now let's go to the next step. We're gonna add some liquidity now, and I go to the pool page over here. I had some USDC and some Bera, so I'm gonna go to this one over here. I already did some liquidity, but I'm gonna add some more. I click on the add button over here. Let's say 3, and I'm gonna go with 0.01. And I'll say preview and add liquidity. I'm gonna give approve. I will approve this transaction from my wallet, and we're gonna wait for the transaction again. As I said, this can be also failed, but we're gonna wait for the blockchain to approve it. And yes, as I said, it's not approved, but we're gonna wait a bit more. So if I go to the pool page over here and click on my pools, I can see which pools did I add liquidity, and it says over here, if I want to add more or take my token backs, do a white draw, I can click on this button over here. And yes, now it's approved. So I have my tokens staked over here. To do some more transactions, I'm gonna white draw 50% of my liquidity pool over here, and I'm gonna go with preview and white draw liquidity. So I'm gonna take back my USDC and Bera from the liquidity pool that I just added. And we're gonna go to the next step. Waiting for the transactions to be approved might take some time. I'm waiting around like 2 or 3 minutes for every transactions to be approved. Even if it says that the transaction was failed and gives me an error, I'm still waiting for the blockchain over here to be approved. So it takes around, as I said, 2 or 3 minutes to be approved. While we're waiting for the transactions to be approved, I can show you how to add the tokens to your MetaMask address over here. You can come to this page over here where we see the transactions are being approved or not. You go to the tokens button over here and click on tokens by market cap. As you can see, this is the USDC that I just swapped in the beginning of the video. We have the Honey token over here as well. So I click on it and I just copy this contract address, put it in my MetaMask, that's all it. And the transaction that I did a white draw has already been approved over here as well. So you click on this button over here as well and put the contract address that we just copied from this web page over here, and the token will be added to your wallet as well. I already added it, so it won't let me to add the second time as well. Now, since this is done over here too, we added liquidity, we did a swap, and we did a white draw. You can also do some swaps between different tokens over here as well. I'm gonna do another swap, and I'm gonna swap my tokens into wrap Bitcoin with my, let's say, Bera token over here. I'm gonna go with 0.0, let's say 5, and I'm gonna get some wrap Bitcoin as well. This is good for doing some transactions, but doing one can also be enough as well. But for doing more transactions will be more useful for the users as well. Doing once is also fine, but I just want to do more transactions on the chain as well. So I'm gonna go with 0.05, preview, and swap tokens. Again, we have to wait for the blockchain to approve my transaction over here. And until that's approved, I'm gonna go to the next step. So the next step is gonna be honey. I already used BEX, and I'm gonna mint some honey from BeraChain, and let's get into it. As I said, we're gonna use some USDC. So I'm gonna go with 3 USDC and mint 3 honey from here. I click on approve, and I'm giving permission over here, and I'm gonna check if my previous transaction was approved from the blockchain, and it's still waiting, as you can see. The chain is a little slow, it's buggy, it's laggy. This is what it is. We have to wait for the transactions to be approved. It's a testnet, so things like this mostly happens in other chains as well. My previous transaction has been approved, which I did some swaps for wrap Bitcoin, and now I'm waiting for my honey tokens to be minted on the web page. It's taking a little bit more than I expected, but it is what it is, so we have to wait. I received 2.98 honey tokens, and I'm gonna swap back my honey back to USDC. I'm gonna go with approve honey, or I can go with max. It doesn't matter actually because it's a test token. But anyways, we're gonna wait for this one as well, and we're gonna go to the next step. As usual, it says the transaction has failed, but we're gonna wait in the wallet, in the blockchain to be approved. It's still not failed, so there's a chance that it will be approved as well, like the previous ones over here. 2 or 3 days ago, when I was trying the BeraChain for the first time, like every transaction I did was being failed, even in the blockchain. It was very hard to use it, but at least right now it's working a bit more better comparing back to 2 days ago. This took a little bit more than I expected, but it's approved. And now let's go to the next step. The next step will be band, where we can supply and borrow some assets. So let's get into it. My wallet is already connected, and I go to enter app. Now what we're gonna do over here is we're gonna supply some token, and we're gonna borrow some other tokens. Now there's only honey which is available for borrowing, and if I supply honey, I will not be able to borrow honey because they're both the same. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna deposit some wrap Bitcoin, which I did some swaps earlier. I'm gonna go with deposit. I'm gonna go with max. Again, I got the failed error over here, but we're gonna wait a little bit more. And when the transaction is approved, I'm gonna borrow some honey from here as well. It's taking a little bit time, but there's nothing to do about it. I hope the chain will be more faster. The team is working on it, and it's not taking actually that much time, maybe in total 10 minutes with the transactions being approved. But who knows, maybe we can get some good amount of tokens in the future for just trying the testnet. I'm not sure if this will work, but if I press speed up button over here, this is Turkish, but it says speed up. And if I increase the transaction fee over here, let's see if it will work. So yes, exactly in 5 minutes my wrap Bitcoin was approved, and I have deposited like $20 of wrap Bitcoin to band. I'm gonna refresh the page, and but it's still not approved on the web page over here. As you can see, it says you can borrow up to $0, so my tokens cannot be seen in the web page. Let's see if I can borrow any honey. Let's go with max. No, it doesn't allow me to borrow anything. However, it's approved in the blockchain, as you can see. So let's try to supply some honey instead of wrap Bitcoin, but we can't borrow any tokens since we're depositing some honey instead of wrap Bitcoin. So let's try to supply some honey instead of wrap Bitcoin, but if we supply honey, we will not be able to borrow some honey tokens since they're the same tokens. But let's just try to do some transactions. And let's go with approve over here, approve again, and I pay for the gas fees. So we have to wait until this is approved. Let me show you how can you see your stats on BeraTrail. Transaction failed as usual. We go over here, which is the page where we can see our transactions. I put my wallet address and I go with enter. As you can see, this is my assets. I have 0.19 Bera tokens in my wallet. As you can see, my transactions are listed over here. I did some transactions in the beginning of the testnet, which was way more worse and slow, but now it seems a little bit more better. As you can see, some transactions over here was failed, but at least I didn't get any failed transactions in this video. As you can see, all of them are approved. So let's see if my honey supply has been approved over here, and it's still be waiting. So we have to wait, and then we're gonna go to the next step, which is gonna be some leverage trading. So also my honey deposit was also successful, but I cannot borrow any tokens over here yet because we supplied some honey, we supplied wrap Bitcoin, but it doesn't show in the web page. So this is basically all we can do right now, and my deposits are not even showing in the page. It's probably gonna take some time, so let's just move on to the next step. Okay guys, so this is gonna be the last step for this video. We're gonna go do some leverage trading with free tokens. So what we're gonna do is we need to deposit some honey, which is a stable coin, to do some leverage trading over here. I'm gonna go with 2 amount of honey and approve my tokens. Now it says that the minimum amount is 10 honey, so I'm not sure if my transaction will be approved. It says failed, but I'm not even sure if it's gonna show in the blockchain. So what I'm gonna do is I need some more honey tokens. I come back over here. I'm gonna mint some more honey tokens. I got 4 and it's not enough. So I'm gonna go back to Bex where we did some swaps in the beginning. So I'm gonna get some more honey to do some leverage trading. So let's go with 0.05, I guess. How much amount? 21 is enough. Let's go with swap and approve. I got my tokens, so let's do some leverage trading. I'm gonna go with long and only use 10 amount of honey tokens. I'm gonna go with like 20x, let's say, or 17, and place order, and I'm gonna give it an approve from my wallet as well. I think you guys got the idea. Even if the web page says that the transaction is failed, it doesn't mean it's actually failed, but we have to wait for the blockchain. As you can see, my long trade, which I tried to do as a leverage, was not approved in the blockchain as well. So it's actually failed right now. So I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna place a new order over here, and hopefully this will be approved. I'm gonna use the speed up again. Maybe it will help, I'm not sure. It says it's failed again, but I'm not sure. We have to wait for the blockchain to be confirmed or to be failed. I don't think using the speed up button does much because I'm still waiting the same amount of time from the previous transactions which I did. So I don't think this is much useful at this point actually. So okay, I guess there's no leverage trading in this video because my both transactions are being failed. But you guys got the idea. You just use 10 amount of honey to do some leverage trading, at least 10 amount of honey, let's say. And you can go with long, short, whichever you want. It's test tokens, use it however you want. So before I end the video, I'm gonna show you the BGT station as well, where we can do some voting for the governance. As you can see, I go over here, but there's no proposals right now, so there's nothing to vote about it. If there will be any over here later, we can do some voting to do some more testing with our BGT token, which I have not earned yet, but in the future, maybe we can get some BGT tokens from this liquidity that we did in the previous stage. So we just have to wait for this one as well. And actually that's it for the video. Before I end it, I also want to show you one more thing. There's a campaign going on Galaxy for BeraChain as well. You can do the quest over here too to earn some potential airdrops too. As you can see, there's some quests, some simple quests like Twitter quests over here. And also there's some steps over here which we did in the video. You can also join their Discord to get the Bera Cup role in their Discord server and do the steps over here as well to improve your chances to getting a juicy airdrop from BeraChain. If you enjoyed the video, please give a like and a subscribe. If you need some more help about the BeraChain testnet, you can drop in the comments or join our Telegram group as well. I'll try to do my best to help you guys. And also if you need some tokens, if the faucet is not working, I'll try to send some small amount of tokens which I have in my wallet to you guys, so you can also do the testnet as well. Sometimes the site might be down or the faucet might not be working. I'll do my best to help you guys. Take care. See you in the next video, guys.